Oh yeah, thanks you guys. I appreciate you taking the time to have me on here.
I think it's pretty cool what you guys are doing.
Very good questions and what a lot of research.
This is cool.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you guys asking me to be a part of this.
That was too cool, bro. And I love between shifts. I'm between shifts right now. I think I'm gonna be between shifts the rest of my life.
Welcome back to Between Shifts Podcast. Today's guest is Coastside's own comedy powerhouse, born a redcoat, raised in Cupertino, and now a regular at some of the biggest clubs in the country. He's the creator of Comedy Sharks at Hop Dogma, a veteran of stages from San Francisco to Tokyo, and he shared the spotlight with some of the best in the business. Please welcome Phil Griffiths.
Woo!
Hey.
David nailing it, dude.
That's first try.
First try.
I like the red coat reference.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of a slur, but okay, I'll leave it. Okay.
Okay, well, normally we start out the podcast kind of slow, but we were looking at your podcast, and I had the idea of firing some rapid fire questions to you, but also David.
All
I
right.
didn't want to leave David out.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit you with a couple. I didn't share them with you the night before.
Okay.
Because I just figured improv, you know?
Yeah, we'll go for it.
All right. First thing that comes to mind. I got 6 of them for you.
Jesus.
Okay, number 1. If you woke up as a squirrel tomorrow, what's the first illegal thing you'd do?
As a squirrel?
Illegal?
Yeah.
Legal.
Oh, no.
What's the sexiest vegetable?
Zucchini.
If your armpits could squirt any condiment, what would it be?
Sriracha.
You have to fight one farm animal with your bare hands. What are you picking?
Pig. It's just fun. Sounds fun.
Sounds dirty. What's the worst possible thing to whisper into someone's ear during a hug?
You smell better when you're awake or when you're asleep.
And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love Pacifica?
Oh, well, you have 1 in there, so I guess if you can go lower, but I guess 1. If I don't know if it'd be lower, I could.
Okay.
There we
I'll
go.
go for it.
Cool.
A true co-sider.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I guess both of you guys can do David's too. So, if you had to replace your nose with something from the grocery store, what would it be?
Broccoli.
I was expecting carrot or something. You have to yell one phrase every time you enter a room. What's the most inappropriate option?
Rape.
Right. If your toes could talk, what's the first thing they'd complain about?
I don't know. Cut my nails.
You can only communicate through animals' sounds for a week. What's your good morning? Moo.
Yeah.
If you had to marry a cartoon character tomorrow, who would you pick?
The mom from what's the
Family Guy.
Incredibles?
Nice. Okay,
I was
now
thinking
we'll
Jessica
get
Rabbit, but that's probably too young. Or too old for
Oh
you.
yeah.
I don't know who Jessica Rabbit is, unfortunately.
Come on.
God. Already. Not starting up well for me.
All right, well, now we'll get into it.
All right.
So where did you grow up?
Well, I was originally born in England, and then we moved here when I was a little kid. So then we grew up in like Cupertino, San Jose area. Pretty much Cupertino for the most part. We moved quite a bit. By the time I was 21, I'd moved 24 times. So
Wow.
Yeah.
moved quite a bit, but always kind of stayed in that Cupertino, Sunnyvale-ish area for the most part.
And what part of England did you live in?
So I was born in Chester, which is south of Liverpool. It's probably the closest, biggest one there, but it's actually in between Wrexham. You guys know where Wrexham is now?
I don't.
Yeah.
You don't watch Wrexham? All right, it's a show,
Yeah.
but maybe you guys will get up on pop culture or whatever. But it's between Wrexham and Liverpool is where it is. But it's like a kind of a seaside town, similar-ish.
Cool.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you moved?
Like 4.5, somewhere in there.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty little.
Yeah. Old enough to remember?
I remember bits and pieces. Like I remember the inside of my grandfather's house, and I remember like a park that my aunt took me to one time. So I remember like my dad was in the Royal Air Force, so we had moved around quite a bit, and there was like this one house we lived in. It was a rental for the Air Force, and so we went in there and like the house was painted like bright purple, the walls, and then they had in the dining room they had like probably like a 4x5 poster of like as close as you could get to a baboon's face photo.
Oh, God.
Just pasted on the wall, and then
Sounds terrifying.
yeah, they had like well, they also had like 8.5 by 10 of naked women pasted up the hallway.
Oh wow.
It was like some squatters that lived there, and so
Nice.
we had to live in that for like a couple weeks until the Air Force came and took photos and said that we didn't do it. But
wow.
so I remember like visual things like that that
Yeah.
were pretty memorable. I remember those things.
The baboon was in the bathroom.
In the dining room.
Oh, dining room.
Yeah.
That's
Classy.
one way to scare the shit out of you.
Yeah. But they had like disassembled a Volkswagen Bug in the living room. It was like still there when we got there. So
What?
it was crazy.
So
They
you're
drive it through a wall
Yeah, they disassembled it and we're reassembling it.
in the living room.
Yeah.
How did they expect to get it out?
I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
so your dad was Royal Air Force,
hmm
and then coming to the States. What did he do after that?
So he got out of the Air Force and worked in England for about a year, but then he worked for a company here in Cupertino called MeasureX, and he worked for about a year traveling back and forth between England, and then they offered to move the whole family out, get us green cards and stuff like that. So we immigrated like probably late 70s then, I guess.
Cool.
Nice.
Your mom do anything?
She was just a housewife then, but then they quickly got divorced once they got here. So then she was like a waitress and kind of worked her way up into corporate tech stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I could see that being pretty straining. Your husband going back and forth from England quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely longer stories there, but yeah, I mean, once they split up, then my mom was like a waitress, and we were just living check to check type thing, and then she slowly got like education in different things, and then became like a safety coordinator, and then worked for a couple different startup companies and stuff like that. We ended up working for like Sun and Oracle.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
that was good.
Two well-established companies, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Did you play any sports growing up?
Yeah, I played a ton of baseball. I tried football. I wasn't good at it. I was too...
Not American enough.
Yeah. Kept waiting for the tea breaks. But there was... I wasn't aggressive enough. But there was baseball I played a ton of. I played that from like 10 years old up to 18 type
Oh,
thing.
nice.
You played through high school?
Yeah, played through high school, and
Nice.
just tried to do it as much as I could. I was a pitcher, so I played
Oh, cool.
pitcher quite a bit. Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
Cupertino High School.
Cool.
Powerful Pioneers.
Nice. Yeah.
You probably heard of them.
Yeah. Is that are they green?
No, maroon and gold and gray.
Gold and gray. I'm trying to think who I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought we played at Cupertino school, but I guess it wasn't.
Yeah, there's a handful. I know they come over here every once in a while.
I mean, I know you probably weren't old enough at the time of the move from England to Cupertino, but like any culture shock moments or anything?
I mean, it wasn't, I don't remember. I mean, I had an accent and I had to lose it pretty quickly or else just get my ass kicked every day. But so I don't remember too much like cultural shock, but I mean, it was more growing up with kind of British upbringing of, like we were told to sit there, be quiet, don't talk a lot.
Yeah.
So it was like, we'd go to people's houses and I'd be the kid sitting in the living room with all the adults patiently waiting for my mom to be done talking. I'd just be sitting there quiet. They're like, your kid's so well behaved. Like, yeah, because he's terrified. He's just sitting there. He can't talk or do anything. But it was more of that. And then just like some words. I remember, one time my mom saw like a friend in the parking lot from work, and he was telling her about his troubles or whatever, and they were like walking away, and she's like, well, keep your pecker up. And her friend's like, wait, what? And I'm like, no, it's like your chin, whatever. It's like, Mom, that means something else here. Like, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
But, so those types of things is what I remember.
Yeah.
most.
What did you listen to? Like, what kind of music were you into young?
I mean, it was weird because growing up, probably not until I was like 16 did I really start listening to music. But I mean, my mom was always playing like Rod Stewart and the Beatles and stuff like that. My dad always played the Beatles and just kind of that. That was mostly what I heard. But we weren't like too musical of a household. So it wasn't until I got like my own radio in my car where I started listening to like rap and R&B and all that stuff. In the like late 80s, early 90s.
Did you have any comedians growing up that kind of influenced you in that direction?
I mean, some Gen X. I was growing up, so it was a lot of Eddie Murphy was obviously the big one. Richard Pryor a little bit, but he was kind of older than the generation I was watching. So Robin Williams obviously was kind of on TV all the time, that type of thing. And I'd watch a lot of late night. I'd watch a lot of Saturday Night Live as well. So it was kind of, those were probably the key ones. But once I got to like high school, I was watching like Brian Regan, which I don't know if you guys know Brian Regan.
I feel like I know the name, but I don't.
He's probably the most famous, not famous comic you've ever seen. Like he sells out like arenas, but you've never heard of him type thing. He could literally go do the arena and then walk across the street to the Taco Bell and nobody would bug him. Like it's, but so he was just kind of like an offbeat comic that I would see at the time, but he was doing very well then.
Nice. Was Bill Cosby's show? What year was that?
Yeah, that was probably like when I was in junior high. That was on the Cosby Show. Yeah, it was like a big thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't follow his footsteps in any way, but
that's good. Well, you were a graphic designer and creative director. Mm-hmm. What skills or creative instincts from that time still influence your comedy today?
I mean, well, it's kind of a lot. I mean, there's, it's art, right? And so I guess so is comedy. You know, it's obviously still dick jokes, but it is an art form in some way. But with being creative director, you do a lot of testing and you do a lot of, iterating on different projects, different looks, different styles, changing colors, changing layouts, and you're doing a lot of the stuff like that. And
not afraid to fail.
Right. Yeah. So you got to kind of put out stuff. You're presenting it. You're showing it to the clients. You're showing it to maybe a certain section of the audience or a certain community or something like that. So you're trying those things. And so it's similarly in comedy, it's the same thing. You're coming up with a concept, an idea, seeing how it works. Do you laugh at it? Do you laugh at it? Can I get you both to laugh at it? Can I get you both to laugh at it once you've had 2 drinks? Can I get you both to laugh at it in the daytime at a park? Can I get you laugh at it at nighttime in a bar or something like that? So you have to constantly play with it and try and adjust based on your surroundings, based on the time, and based on who's in the audience, all that stuff. So it's a lot of it. And I find it's kind of that imperfect art. I mean, even in playing baseball, I found that I have always, I guess, skewed to those imperfect arts. I mean, baseball in itself is, I could throw a ball and I can think it's a strike. The umpire can think it's a ball. The pitcher or the batter can think it's a strike. So it's all how it's perceived. And, so I think between baseball, art, and comedy, they're all kind of similar in, you're trying to show what you think is right or what you think is good. Yeah. And hopefully getting the right reaction that you want from the crowd based on that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, starting stand-up at 39, that's a bold move. Yep. What was the turning point that made you take the leap into starting comedy?
Well, I mean, I wanted to do it my whole life. Like, I had definitely kind of had that dream of doing it, but I was a very shy kid. Like, I think that's part of the British upbringing, was that, like, you're not supposed to talk unless you're spoken to type thing. And but even when I was like 12, we lived across the street from a Blockbuster, so I would go and I would rent all the whatever comedy special, whether it's like Comic Relief with Whoopi Goldberg and Billy Crystal and Robin Williams, or like Eddie Murphy Delirious or Eddie Murphy Raw, whatever, and I just kind of go down the list and rent them all. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to do it my whole life, and then when I was 18, my dad almost opened a comedy club in Los Gatos.
Oh wow!
But the city had a moratorium on liquor licenses, so they stopped it. And he was like, "Well, it would have been great if you told me that like $15,000 ago in licensing fees or whatever." But so he didn't do that. But so at that time, it was my brother and I were like, "Man, that would have been cool. Like we would have been forced to do comedy, like because we just we'll be Pauly Shore or whatever." And so, but I never did anything with it. And then, but still always kind of had this, I mean, I had like a notebook. I would write down ideas and stuff in just to have, I guess. And then before I was 39, like probably I was like 36, and my brother got kind of sick. He was in the hospital, kind of sick, very sick. And he was in the hospital for about a year. And so we would just go and like sit with him in the hospital when he was there. And we'd have conversations like, what do you regret? What do you wish you did? And he's like, I kind of wish we kind of started or tried comedy, because he was very funny. And I was like, yeah, I regret that too. And then when he passed away, I was like, I don't want to have that regret, So I wrote out 5 minutes. And actually, probably also leading up to that, my daughter was a swimmer, and my other daughter was in sports stuff too. And so we were trying to encourage them to do stuff. And, I'm like, oh, write your goals down and whatever. And she was like, what's your goal? And she's like, oh, swim in college and these types of things. And then they would always be like, what's your goal? And I was like, oh, they're like, what's your dream? And I was like, well, it was comedy. They're like, why don't you do it? And I'm like, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Why don't I do it? And so combine that with my brother passing and not wanting to have that regret. So I just wrote out 5 minutes and went to Rooster Teeth Feathers in Sunnyvale. Well, before that, I went to a bunch of open mics and just kind of watched just to build confidence where I'd be like, oh, I'm funnier than that guy. I'm not going to be that bad, that type of thing. And so, which just definitely helps. And then I signed up at Rooster Teeth Feathers on their Wednesday night. They have a showcase that you can sign up for. And it's pretty friendly. Like the comedy club's kind of set to be people there watching versus like a bar or something like that. People will not be necessarily that friendly to it. So I went up, I did 5 minutes, and I loved it. It actually went pretty well. I didn't do horribly, didn't do like amazing, but I did well. And kind of came off stage, and I was like, fuck, I should have been doing this the whole time. I was so mad at myself. Then I just kind of kept doing it. I signed up for the open mic the next month and signed up again. And then I went to sign up again, and then they said, oh, we're having our competition now. So you can't sign up for the open mic, but you can sign up for the competition. At least you get like another week out of it. So I was like, all right. So I signed up for that. And then I got past the first round. I got past the second round. I got to the finals. And then it's like 100 comics that start. So it's not, being like top 10 of that. I was like, okay. I didn't place or anything in the top 10 or out of the top 10. And then my wife was like, oh, okay, so you're done now? And I was like, I don't think so. Yeah. And I was like, I really love it. And so I just kept doing it, and then, just kind of went at it. I mean, it's hard because I was definitely working full time at the time, and also had my kids are fairly young. My kids were like 8, 10-ish around that time. So, you're trying to be a dad and a parent at the same time and not get divorced because you're ignoring your family all the time. So, because a lot of it is going out to a bar until you can get stage time. So you may show up at 8 and then not get up till 11:30 or something. So you're trying to get those 5 minutes or whatever to get that time. So that's not the greatest when you're newly married with new kids. And so
and you had another job.
So luckily I was like kind of a night owl. So I would have been up anyway. But at the same time, it's more just finding that balance with your family and your wife and trying to make sure that stays intact, because that's obviously very important. But at the same time, comedy doesn't necessarily allow itself to be a family-friendly time crunch. So,
then how long was it until from when you first started to getting your first paid gig?
I mean, it can really vary. I mean, you can get paid $20 to do a gig. So is that considered a paid gig? Is that considered a good paying gig? I mean, I still do gigs for $20. So it's not. Making it is, I feel I'm very far away from that. That's not even close, but unless you're like touring the country and you're doing clubs every weekend, that's probably the closest to making it. Or maybe you have a TV set or something like that. But after a few months, somebody offered to put you on a show and pay you $20 or $40 or something like that. And you do that. I feel like you get like officially become a comic when you're like passed at a real comedy club, like Roosters or Punchline or Cobb's Comedy Club or San Jose Improv or something like that. That kind of gets you. At least I feel like that's a little more than just doing open mics and stuff like that and showcases. And so that took about 3 years for me. Which, it can vary for a lot of people. There's people that have been doing it for 10 years that are still not passed at some of these places. But because there's a lot of different processes depending on the club you go to. Like Roosters has their own, Punchline has their own, San Jose Improv has their own. So you have to really kind of play their game. And a lot of it's like just showing up and having FaceTime and just showing that you're committed to it. Punchline, you have to basically go for, they have a Sunday showcase that you have to go almost a year or more before you get up for the first time.
Wow.
And, trying to explain to my wife that I'm going to go to Punchline every Sunday for
a year.
And then she's like, oh, okay, you're going to get paid? You're like, no. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, but then I'll finally get up. And she's like, and then you'll get paid? I'm like, no. Still not get paid. And then, then you get up and then you got to, once you finally get up, then they'll put you up like every 3-4 months, and then you have to keep doing well. If you keep doing well, and then hopefully maybe after, I think it took me maybe like another 1.5 years after I went up for the first time, to get where they're like, okay, now we give you an audition to be a host, and then you host, and then you finally get paid.
Yeah.
But even then, it's not much. It's, $50, $100, depending where you do.
Yeah. Well, I think that comedy is one of the boldest form of arts because it's so, like, you can listen to a bad artist musically and be like, I don't like the song, skip. But then, like, comedy, you can go and you could be pissed off at the comic for weeks after, especially if you're highly sensitive and don't like some jokes. Like, people will go to a show and just be like, oh, fuck that guy. Like, I don't like that guy. And then the next time you're there and they're like, I don't know. That's just terrifying to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of it can skew either way. It's all mood. It's all the time that you could have had a bad day at work and you come in and you're pissed off for whatever reason. I have no idea as a comic that you're just sitting there mad at your job, but it looks like you're mad at me.
Yeah.
You don't know. And then, I could say one wrong move. I could say a joke about whatever that just triggers you in a way, and then you're out. So it can really matter. I try not to focus on any one person in the crowd, because inevitably there's one person who's not enjoying the show, and you can just ignore them. Some people focus on that one person and try and get them to laugh, and I try not to do that. If somebody's enjoying the show, I try and watch them.
Yeah. How often are you writing new comedy?
I mean, it's never enough. I don't write nearly as much as some, or probably as I should. I also don't kind of sit down and write. I think every comic has their own kind of way. Some people can literally pull out a notebook and sit at a coffee shop and start writing out ideas. I've never really written a joke that way. It's always just kind of come to me as I'm driving or running or walking somewhere.
And from what I've seen, you do a lot of crowd work too.
I have. I mean, a lot of the clips you put up online are probably more crowd work, just because you don't want to burn material necessarily online. But yeah, so I mean, part of Comedy Sharks getting better at that is doing a lot of crowd work there, just to get that's become a lot more commonplace now. So that was a good way to practice it. But I do a good bit of that now. If I'm like headlining a show or something like that, it's fun to do it. The crowd feels like comedy crowds are kind of wanting a bit of that now, or expecting to be spoken to sometimes, which good or bad. I'd love if they just listened to jokes and didn't do anything, but sometimes they just want to, sometimes you have to talk to them too. Like if the jokes aren't going well or whatever, something happens in the room, or maybe they say something and you kind of have to address it in some way. So if you have to have that kind of, gun in your holster to be able to talk about that or talk to them and either bring the room back to normal or address it and kind of move on. You have to be able to do that. Yeah.
Well, I know, like, I think Seinfeld says that he sits down and writes for a couple, like 30 minutes a day or something. Are you doing that, or are you just kind of when it comes to you
not
write?
That style?
I'm not that style. I mean, again, I don't write nearly as much as I should, and so I'm not a good example of a good writing comic. I mean, I definitely know several comics that will do that. They'll sit down and write every day. I've been at shows where they're still writing during the show, and it's always amazing to me. But I mean, Seinfeld, I feel like not an anomaly because a lot of comics do it, but he has a work ethic of that is kind of insane. But obviously, it's working. Yeah, and has worked.
I had gone to New Zealand and traveled for 9 months, and when I first got there, I was all alone, and I was in Auckland. And the hotel that I was staying at was like right up the street from I forget what it's called. It's probably the biggest comedy club there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I walked down. I was all pumped up because I just got a van, my travel van for when I was there. Okay. And I walked down. I'm like, I'm going to go get some sushi all alone. I was just like, I'm celebrating my van. And I walked down past it, and then I was walking back by, and I was like, I'm going to go in and just see. It was like a bar up front, but then the shows were in the back.
In the back room.
There was nobody in the bar because the show was going on, so everybody was back there. I just started talking to the guy at the bar. I was like having a beer, just talking to this guy, and it turned out he was the owner. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'd love to come see a show. Like, are you having another show tomorrow night? He's like, no, but you know what? Just come back with me in intermission. So it was like this intermission. He brought me up to his seat. I got to go like up in the balcony. I was with all the comics.
Oh, nice.
Like the green room was back here, and I was
Yeah.
like, this is so cool. I went into the green room and started talking to some of the comics, and it's just like they're cool people.
Yeah.
It's people that you like to have a conversation with.
I feel like green rooms are it's one of my happier places. It's just a cool thing because it's not only like, I mean, I could go into a room with 5 comics that I've never met before. But there's kind of a general understanding that we're all not cool, but we're all cool with whatever's going to be about to be said. And there's no like awkwardness if I like do a quick, rip on your shirt or something like that. I'd be like, oh, that's crazy from a guy wearing that shirt or something like that.
Yeah.
You could say that to a comic you've never met before. And again, obviously there's context and, whatever, how that give and take, but stuff like that is just kind of expected in a green room and known. And so there's like a comfortability that you have with other comics that even if you go to a party and there's another comic and you're like, oh, thank God, I know I can stand in the corner and be cool with that guy or that girl. Because you just know that it's a comfortable level that we're both on the same wavelength of at least social norms or as how socially awkward we're both going to be. Like there's just a comfortable setting in the green room.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely. Do you remember a specific set when you've bombed?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It was in the one for sure was in Santa Cruz at the Blue Lagoon, which is
that's a
very divey bar.
Depths of the underworld.
But I had a great comedy scene when I was coming up. There's DNA was running that show there, and they had comedy there every Thursday, and we'd go and you'd get stage time, and it was great. But I went up one night, and it was just one of those like coastal where it's like still 85 degrees at night for no reason. And that room had very bad ventilation. So it was like, you'd go in, it was probably 105 in the room, like just baking. And I remember going up already sweating, just pouring down my face. And it was the first time I'd forgotten a joke. And I went up and I said the first joke, I got nothing. And I'd never gotten nothing before. So it got nothing. And it just took me out and I was like, wait, what? I didn't laugh at that. That's crazy. And then I was like, well, what's the next joke? I couldn't even think of the joke in my head. So I had to like pull out. I had my set list in my pocket, and I pulled it out. I looked at it, put it back in my pocket. Said the next joke. Nothing.
Oh.
Forgot the third joke. Went back into my pocket, pulled it out again. Said that joke, and then somebody said something in reference to the joke, but I took it as him talking about me because I said I forget what it was some innocuous setup, and the guy goes, "That sucks." But when I listened back to it, he was talking about what I said, but in my head, he was saying that I suck, and was screaming it out, and I was just like, "Oh my God!" The sweat just doubled down, just pouring on my face. I couldn't wipe fast enough to get it out of my face. It was just horrible.
What stage would that have been on at the Blue Lagoon? Is that where all the live shows are over on the right hand side?
Yeah, you go back to the right.
Yeah, because they have that weird little thing on the left too.
Yeah, that's like the dance floor.
Yeah.
So they would do comedy on Thursdays, would happen on the right, and then after that, 80s dance night would happen on the left side.
Okay. Yeah. Double pop.
Comedy Sharks has been running for nearly 12 years now. What has been the biggest challenge you faced while building it?
I mean, I've been really lucky in Comedy Sharks because Dan and the whole team at Comedy Shark at Hop Dogma has been great. They've supported the show from the start. They've given me kind of free run of it the whole time. They've never either interfered with comics I'm booking. They've never interfered with what's been said on stage. They've never interfered with how I treat audience members that maybe are acting up in the crowd. And for a good show, the relationship between the comic running it, the producer, and the owner of whoever the management is key, because I've seen amazing venues where you're like, this would be perfect for comedy. This would be awesome. Just go to shit when, the owner doesn't support it, or, he starts seeing his regulars that have been drinking all night get, hammered. And
owner hears one joke that he doesn't like, and it's like,
right,
this is done.
Yeah, because he got offended. Sometimes, and sometimes comics are dumb. They'll come in and be like, this place is a dump. It's like, we can't do that. You know what I mean? So, but that comes down to part of it, like, booking and all that stuff. So I've been very lucky in how it's grown. I mean, what I've learned is, just it comes down to the lineup quite a bit. I mean, and that's, a lot of the shows that I've done in the past, when I first started, it was open mic comics, booking other open mic comics to do the show. And no offense, it's horrible. You don't, that's why you're doing it at open mic. It's not at a show. And so if you're really trying to put on a good show, the lineup really matters. And that's how I've kind of always looked at that show. Like, I've not booked Friends because I'm like, well, I don't think you're funny enough yet in my eyes. And I know, like, my audience now there, I know what they're going to laugh at and so you kind of curate the audience based on that. And, you want to, I've always just kind of looked at it as, like, if you're working at a comic club, that's the comics I want to come out to the coast and do the show, because I feel like it's just a level of quality that's going to be there. It's going to makes it easier for people to come back and enjoy the show.
And is there, like, one of the Comedy Shark nights where the lineup, like, you look back and you were like, that was just hands down the best night that we've had?
I mean, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I mean, I know I've booked, comics where I had it's usually in a progressive order based on either seniority or how, like, how good I think, they're going to do. Like, you'll book a headliner and then you kind of work down from there. But I've looked back at lineups now and be like, oh, the guy who went second was on the, Conan show, or, this guy's on touring and did, arenas or something like that. Yeah. So, like, I've had people that are on the show that are doing amazingly well and that have, grown as comics. And so, yeah, it is fun to look back at some of the lineups and see. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but just to be able to know that I've curated, lineups back then that were good, that have turned into, like, a really good lineup of comics that are, all probably headliners now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool.
And so you started Comedy Sharks. Was that when Hop Dogma was at the old location next to the post office in El Granada? Yeah,
so I started it when I was a year into comedy. It's kind of recommended that, like, hey, you want to get better, because your first job in comedy is a host. You're going to be in a comedy club, you're going to be a host. That's how it works. And so, unless you have some, like, meteoric, weird rise to the top, but usually you're a host at a comedy club. So, like I was saying, like, you want to get experience hosting. It's also a good way to network with other comics and get on their shows, because you can, like, hey, you do a good show, I do a good show. Do you want to do my show? I'll do your show, type thing.
Yeah.
Which happens, but you also want to be careful, because if they're running a show, it doesn't mean they're a good comic.
Yeah.
So you have to be kind of balance that out. But so I think they had opened in July at the old spot, and then I went over there, talked to Dan and Ethan. They were running it, and what was nice is it was small at the time. I think it only sat like 25, and so I was like, even if 15 people show up, it's still going to feel full in here. And it's a low, small ceiling. It'll feel great. But it blew it out of the water. I mean, I've been very lucky in that the audience supports it. The Hop Dogma community supports it. They come out. I mean, the first time, I think it was utterly packed. People were just standing. The problem was that people couldn't get to the bar to order a beer. They would get one, or they would have to, like, order. Can you order me a beer? Like asking people to order, like, through you. So then they would just, like, kind of all stand there, shoulder to shoulder. I'm sure there's probably a fire code of some sort breaking, but it was
allegedly.
Yeah. But it was just packed, and and people came out, and it took a little time to get people to like, learn how to be an audience in that space, because a lot of people probably never even been to a comedy show.
Especially in Half Moon Bay.
Right.
Like, there's not a lot of comedy happening here.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was back in the day in, like, the lodge.
The Half Moon Bay Lodge?
Half Moon Bay Lodge. Like,
okay.
Down by the one right by the water. What's that called?
Beach House.
Beach House, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there used to be comedy there, like, way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so there isn't much. But, it's just training that audience to be able to, not talk and, hey, this isn't a bar anymore. There's a show going on. You talking interrupts the show, and so you got to, like, kind of help them grow as an audience. Yeah,
for sure. Well, I don't know. This isn't on our questions, but I'd like to just take a moment to just talk about modern comedy. I feel like that'd be fun. What comedians do you love right now?
I really love Joe List. I think he's hilarious. I don't know if do you guys know him at all?
Yeah, he's great. Joe List.
I think he's one of the funniest. He's so consistent. He's just great. He's such a great joke writer, and he's cranking out material left and right. So I worked with him at Roosters in Sunnyvale in January, and luckily, because I was just a fan of him already, so I got to work with him. Also a very nice guy. But him, like Sam Morrell, I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
Very funny guy as well. Kind of in that same ilk, just a straight joke writer, just joining jokes. I love Laurie Kilmartin as well. She used to write for Conan a lot.
Oh, okay.
She has like dark humor, just very funny. She is like literally the epitome of a joke machine. She just can crank them out, and so funny on stage. Her crowd work is great. Just really enjoy her from like top to bottom. But she's in LA, but she tours all over the world as well. I'm trying to think who else.
How about I can't remember his last name, but his first name's Nate. He does all clean comedy.
Nate Bargatze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really impressive, huh?
He's great. I mean, I think clean comedy is one of the hardest things you can do.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. And so to be able to do that and be funny enough to make, now he's making arenas laugh, which is, he's also, I think, made the most money comics made or whatever.
Wow.
This year. And so, he's great. I mean, there's a lot of comics that do clean comedy, like that tour with him as well. So, I mean, it's very hard to do. And when it's done right, it's Seinfeld, Bargatze level. Like, all those guys are really good.
So is his whole, like every show, is every comic a clean comic?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
tough.
That's really impressive.
It's kind of similar. Brian Regan is kind of also known as being a very famous clean comic. And I mean, he has 13-year-olds going to a show, 15-year-olds. People bring their kids to the show, knowing he's a clean comic. He's not going to talk not only clean, but he's also not talking about banging his wife or something like he's talking clean and has clean topics. So people know they can bring it. It's same from what I've heard. It seemed like that's what Nate gets now at his shows, is that he's getting families coming out to the shows, and it's a whole experience. So he has to book the lead-in comics the same way, just to cover.
A lot different than a Shane Gillis show.
Yes, extremely different.
So I feel like, at least for our age group, I feel like a lot of like the introduction into comedy nowadays comes from, not only is it like short format stuff, whether it's like Instagram or YouTube, whatever, but like Kill Tony is so big across, I don't know, just younger people in general. And I would love your take on it, because I mean, I enjoy an episode here and there, but it also is like, it's
The first time I watched that, I was like, oh, it like made me feel bad, but then I realized it was the whole point of the show. I don't know. Sometimes I still watch it. I'm like, oh, damn, that was mean.
There's terrible episodes for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's intentionally like that. I mean, I obviously don't know those guys or anything, but like you're watching a train wreck.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're watching, right? Like, so you're watching the car crash. And so sometimes people make it out of that crash alive, whether they're good comics or not. That's obviously up for debate. I mean, I can't fault somebody for going on the show and trying to get famous that way, but I feel like a lot of them get famous and literally have a minute of material, and that's crazy to me. And I think it is changing the way people look at comedy. Like you said, you guys are the younger generation. You're taking in comedy in these little snips and in these little highlight reels, and then seeing this guy get famous from that, which to me seems bizarre. Like, I watched the HBO Comedy Hour, and that's how you got famous, was getting an HBO special to do a full hour. Yeah. And that's how you knew you made it, type thing. Or you did the Tonight Show, and that was how you made it.
Which, an hour, that's insane. That's a lot of material.
It's a lot of material,
I don't even know how long you'd have to sit down and write something out for that, but that's like
But what's weird,
prep.
But what's weird is with the Kill Tony guys, they're going on. They may, like I said, only have a minute, maybe two, and then they get put into this, like lofted into this stage and spotlight, and then people are going to these shows sometimes for the first time to see comedy. Have you guys ever been to a comedy show in a comedy club? We have.
Comedy Sharks.
Comedy Sharks, but you've never been to like a proper comedy club, right?
I guess I've never really been to a comedy club.
Yeah, so like if that's your first time is going to like Cobb's and you're seeing this guy you saw in Kill Tony do a minute, and then you go there and maybe his openers are good or bad. Hopefully they're good. Hopefully he brings good support. But then he comes out or she comes out and they're doing 30 minutes and of stuff that they've just figured out how to do or say, and they're essentially kind of open micing it in front of you. You guys are like, oh, well, we saw that guy. The comedy's not great.
Yeah. And
so then you guys leave with a bad taste in your mouth of maybe we don't go to comedy again. And so I feel like that kind of drives that quality level down. So if it's not, I don't think it's good overall. And I feel like Kill Tony to me is always kind of this is probably again too old for you guys, but Howard Stern, did you guys
Yeah,
ever listen to Howard
yeah,
Stern? So he had his whack pack, you know, of just the weirdos and whatever guys he had on the show. And I feel like that's what Kill Tony is. He's collecting these, like, because there's, you know, they always have speech impediment or there's something weird about them or whatever that he's like pulling from and kind of making them famous from that. And it just feels like, it just feels like it's degrading comedy in that sense. And then you see it because I've been at comedy strikes before and somebody's come up to me and been like, "Oh, can I be on the show?" And I'm like, "Who are you?"
It's not an open mic.
Yeah. And I'm like, "Well, it's not an open mic." They're like, "Oh, okay." Well, I'm like, "Well, how much time do you have?" And they're like, "Oh, no, I have no time. I'm just going to do crowd work."
Want to get your business in front of a loyal local audience? Between Shifts brings coastside stories to life with real conversations, local legends, and plenty of laughs. Sponsorships include custom ad reads, shout-outs in episodes, and visibility across all our socials, all designed to connect your brand with engaged listeners who support local. Now, please email betweenshipspod@gmail.com for any inquiries. Thank you.
So Matt Rife.
Matt Rife, yes. Right. Girlfriends know who Matt Rife is.
Girlfriends are, yes. But so Matt Rife kind of kicked off this big crowd work kind of push as far as clips and all that stuff. Not that people weren't doing that, but people were more putting out their actual material and just, I mean, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but generally the idea was that you never put anything out on TV or whatever until you either had your special, you were going to save it for your special recorder or put it out on an album or whatever it was. So you never wanted to put it out on social media like that. Because that used to be the thing. Like back in the day, you could go out and do the Tonight Show and do 5 minutes, and then you could basically tour for the next 30 years doing an hour that you curated over the time because there was no internet, right? So
yeah.
But so now when Matt Rife started putting out all the crowd work stuff and all that stuff, everyone started putting out their little bits of crowd work as well. Like, oh, that's how we got famous, and people definitely got bumps from it, and that's how they got it. And then people started putting out content and putting out their actual material, and then it starts to burn faster, and people are like putting out less quality jokes because it's not a joke. You know, I see comics now that'll do the joke for the first time at a show, and then I'll see it tomorrow on their Instagram, and I'm like, "Oh, you just did that!" And like, but they didn't. Usually, you would take a joke and you hone it and you craft it and you manipulate it and you change the words and you know add words, add a bit, whatever it is, and you make it a 5-minute bit or whatever it is. And but now they're putting it out there right away, and so it's changing. I think the quality of comedy is changing, and the way everyone's like taking it in. I mean, even when you go to a comedy club, you may be expecting crowd work because that's what you've now seen all the time. Or you also maybe think like it's okay for me to yell out because you see it on the clips, and that's not how comedy clubs work. Most of them will shut you down and tell you to be quiet, or the comic will tell you to be quiet. But now, because crowd work is so big, it's just kind of blown up into this whole genre, essentially, of comedy by itself.
Yeah. I went to a dispensary in the city because they had a comedy show there. And my girlfriend and I sat, like, we had never been to a comedy show, but we sat front row. Mm-hmm. And we just like comedy. So we're, like, trying to be encouraging to the comedian by laughing at most things. And then finally one of the comedians goes, "I can't tell what you guys like." You laugh at everything. We're like, ha. Laughing at that. We're like, fuck, okay. So we, like, tried to, I don't know, we just tried not to laugh, and that was, like, more awkward.
Yeah.
And then everybody behind us is just like, what? They're like smoking in the dispensary, and we're like, fuck.
Yeah, dispensary shows are a whole other thing.
It's like brutal.
Yeah. I did one, they had like a dab bar, and I didn't know who was listening, who was not listening.
Just people coughing in the background.
Coughing, and then they would you'd be doing your next setup, and then they would just start laughing. Like it just kind of calculated the punchline from 2 minutes ago, calculated and set in, and then they'd start laughing at that, and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, they're strange ones for sure.
So you definitely prefer a bar over a dispensary comedy show?
Yeah, for sure. I don't even think I do dispensary shows anymore. But bars are tough in their own right too, because then you don't know. I mean, there's people there that didn't know comedy was happening, didn't want comedy to happen, had no plans in listening to comedy that night. And, especially if there's regulars at a bar, like if it's kind of a divey place and there's regulars there, and you're interrupting their night, it doesn't go well. I mean. That's happened in Half Bay. There's places that have regulars, and even Hop Dogma had its regulars. But again, that's part of training the audience to figure it out and know that it's coming, know that it's gonna be there. But when you do these pop-up open mics, it's kind of crazy.
It's Thursday night, guys. You know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I do at the beginning of every show. Is I tell them like, hey, you're in this room, you're going to be listening to comedy. If you're not here for comedy, I get it. Go outside, go on the side patio, go on the out back. But if you're in this room and you're talking, don't be surprised if I tap you on your shoulder, because the comics work really hard. And, you know, that's why I think it's one of the better shows. I mean, it's been running for 12 years coming up, and it's definitely one of the better shows in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I have comics asking me to be on it all the time. I had waiting lists for a long time.
That's awesome.
And so you have to, it's because of the audience that, you know, people know. And sometimes people think it's going to be easy because like, oh, it's going to be an easy one. But people know what's funny and what's not. So if you come up there and you're just kind of half-assing it, I think the audience there knows now. They know what's good comedy, so they expect good comedy.
Yeah. When you were starting out, did you get into anything? Like do you know who Judy Carter is? Comedian. Yeah, she has that Comedy Bible thing. I got that book, and I was just like reading through it, and there's a bunch of little like thought-provoking exercises. But then they have. Is that you or me? Oh, there you go. Right. All good. But she has the Comedy Bible, and it's like this book that you can read through, and it's thought-provoking exercises, and you just write in it and whatever. And you realize how bad of a comedian you would be, all this stuff. But they have this comedy club, which on Facebook it's just a group, and you can kind of get a little like friend that you share material with. And I was doing that while I was traveling through New Zealand. But did you ever have a book or anything like that you kind of read that got you even more excited about doing comedy? I did buy a couple of books, I think, and at best I probably skimmed through them. I definitely did have the Judy Carter book, but I listened to a lot of stuff. I listened to a lot of interviews and stuff. Even before I started comedy, listening to podcasts and stuff like that, and hearing comics talk about how to do it, what to do right. There's a lot of good YouTube videos. There's a really good one. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name, but there's one really good one that he just kind of breaks everything down, from like how to deal with a comedy club, how to go up on stage the first time, you know, moving the mic stand, like all these different things that he does. And so like I listened to a lot of those things, and for me, I've always just kind of learned by doing. Even like when I was doing, you know, graphic design and I just had Photoshop and just started figuring out how to work Photoshop. And so I've always just kind of been a better learner that way. And so it's tough. I always, it really depends on how you learn. Some people go to like comedy college and stuff like that. There's a whole thing you can go to in the city, and there's definitely comedy classes that are offered all around town. And if that's how you learn, if that's what it takes to help you get started, then have at it, you know. Sometimes people kind of shit on those things, but I always figure just whatever takes you to get into comedy and or whatever you like doing, whatever works for you. It's definitely a hard art form to get into, because like with music now you can just order anything to start making music with, but I feel like comedy, you don't really get into it unless you trial in front of a crowd. Like live comedy is kind of...
Yeah, I mean, I feel it's hard, but it's also probably easy, because I mean, if you're a musician, you're not going to get a gig unless you're decent. Yeah. Right? So like, but if I'm a shitty comic, I can just kind of show up at an open mic and just go up and start talking in front of 20 people and be horrible.
Yeah. It's hard to know if you suck if you're a musician, but it's easy to know if you suck. If you're doing
you can get pretty instant feedback.
Yeah. Well, let's get back into the questions here. Yep. But coming back to Comedy Sharks, how do you go about finding the talent for those shows?
Yeah, I mean, it's all comics I work with or that I've run into somehow. Usually I'm at a stage now, you know, when I first started, it was booking comics that I work with a lot, that I've seen, that I know are funny. I would start to get a lot of requests from comics either I didn't know or had never worked with. And so sometimes I would take a shot on that if it was like, oh, I've heard of that guy, but I've never seen him. And then I'd have him out, and then I'd be like, oh, God, why did I do that? Yeah. Like, I really should have vetted this out a bit more. So you have that kind of learning process. And so now, I basically do it if I've seen you perform and I've seen you do well, it's kind of mentally in my head that, oh, I should have him out to do Sharks or something like that. Or if, you know, once they kind of get past that, you know, the Punchline or Roosters or Improv or something like that as a you know, host or something, I'm like, okay, well, they've been vetted. They at least have a decent 10 minutes. So that makes it a bit easier. But most of the time, it really is just working with them, seeing if they'd be good for the room. Because I've also seen comics that are very funny that I'm like, I don't think they'd work for my audience. And so that's a big part of it too. You have to kind of know your audience, know the comic, and see if you think those will gel or not. And if they don't, then you can't hurt some feelings when people are like, hey, I really want to do your show. And I'm like, I bet. Yeah. But I can't have it, you know, so you got to figure it out.
And I'm sure that's something that's evolved a lot from when you first started, just like the process of, weeding people out, weeding comedians out for who you pick. And I'm sure having other clubs do the vetting for you is pretty convenient.
Yeah, I mean, if you can say you're a Punchline past comic or a Roosters past, like, there's a certain quality level that's gonna work. So yeah, that does take a lot of the weight off. But I mean, to that said, there's comics that are past the Punchline that I probably wouldn't have on the show. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, again, it's knowing your audience, knowing what would work or what wouldn't work. But it's it does get easier. Just, I think, being in the game a little bit, trying to figure out like who I've worked with, and I'm like, oh, I think they could do 10, even if I only see them do 5 minutes. I'm like, they probably have 10 minutes.
Yeah. And is that what you guys do at Comedy Sharks? Is always 10-minute sets?
It usually varies. If it's somebody new or I'm not too sure of, it's usually like a 10-minute set to start, and then once they've done it, if they've done it once, I'll usually have them back, and then it's usually 12 minutes, and then the headliner usually does 20 to 30 minutes, depending. So it's usually it's 5 new comics every time. I do about 5-10 minutes up top, crowd work or whatever it is, and just trying to get the crowd quiet and all that.
Does your wife go to all the Comedy Sharks?
She doesn't go to all the Comedy Sharks. It's a lot. She goes, if there's somebody where I'm like, oh, you got to come see this comic. They're really funny. You should come out. So I'll have her do that. But now she kind of just goes for big shows. Like if I'm at the Punchline and the headliner I'm working with is very funny, I'm like, you got to come see these shows. Or if we have friends visiting from out of town or somebody's wanting to see me that she knows, she'll like, oh, okay, I'll go with so-and-so and we'll get a table or something like that.
Nice.
What's your favorite beer? Hop Dogma?
Ooh, I really like Smile Medication.
Yeah,
I think
it's classic.
Good. It's really good. It's hard to beat that one, but
yeah.
I mean, they're cranking out some really good stuff.
Oh yeah,
They got the Brewery of the Year award this year.
Wow.
That's from the U.S. Beer Open Championship. So
for their size,
their barrel, yeah, 501 to 1,000 barrels.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you've performed everywhere from San Francisco's Punchline to Tokyo and Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite location?
I mean, so when I was in I did like Barcelona and like Dublin and London and stuff like that. I mean, it's hard to say. It is fun to do them there for sure, and Tokyo is fun too. But it's that feels like a very different out of body experience doing those shows there. But I mean, like locally, it's usually about more where you're comfortable or kind of what the venue is. Like I'm very comfortable at Roosters. I'm very comfortable at the Punchline now, just because I've done them so often, and I know the staff, and I know I can also either not do well and be okay, or fuck around a bit and be okay. Because when you're not past there or anything, you're really just trying to like nail everything, cross your T's, dot your I's. Like you don't want to fuck up, and so when you're first performing there, you're kind of nervous about that all the time. But now once you're past, like you're in good graces with the club.
Yeah.
It's all about being comfortable. So if you can be comfortable in whatever environment. So, I mean, I'd say Roosters and Punchline are probably my most famous. But there's also Cheaper Than Therapy, which is in the city, which is a little theater at the Shelton Theater. It's like a 100-person theater.
Okay.
And I do that a couple times a month. And they just do like a showcase, like 6 comics doing 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. But it's like an all-star show of all the best comics in the city. So that one's really comfortable just because, again, I've been there enough. I've done it enough. I was a resident there for a while, so you get to just be very comfortable in those environments, and that's always your favorite. Really, not one in particular. It's just more like...
Yeah. How did that show in Tokyo go? Did you feel like a lot of people in Tokyo spoke English, like understood what you were saying? Or
yeah, so in all those places that I've done it, Barcelona, Tokyo, it's always for the expat audience.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's always an English-speaking audience for sure. Mm-hmm. The Tokyo one was interesting. They were just starting. There's not a huge comedy scene there. There's probably like 20 American English-speaking comics there, and they've all opened for Dave Chappelle.
Wow.
Because in
Tokyo.
Yeah. Because Chappelle will go there to write off a trip, and he'll be like, I need a theater and I need a comic, and so then they all just kind of take a turn. So they all have they all have amazing credits of who they've opened for, because every major comic comes through there. It's
pretty funny.
Yeah, does all that stuff. But this was like in a room above a pizza place. It was just but now since then it's turned into like a full comedy bar. It's called Tokyo Comedy Club, and they have like a full comedy club there. But Yeah, I mean, there's different things. Like even when I went to England, there was different things where I had to like kind of change how I say stuff. Like just because you want to make it right. You want to say like supervisor instead of manager because they don't say that there necessarily. So little things, and you want to make sure your references still work. If you say in a joke, if you say BART, you have to realize they're not going to know what BART is. So you have to like change it to public transit or the train or something like so. Yeah, you kind of either have to go through your set and kind of figure those things out. Or just kind of do it on the fly as you're talking. Yeah. Hopefully you can change it fast.
I remember seeing something of Tom Segura talking about how when he's on the road, he tries to write the first like 5 to 10 minutes of his set, which I understand is like a whole set for some people. Mm-hmm. But the first 5 to 10 minutes of his set, he tries to tie it into the local area. Yeah. Were you doing any of that when you were traveling?
You do it a little bit because you're usually I'm usually the tourist, so I'll say something funny about that, and usually that's a minute or something or first joke and even that works in the Bay Area too. You can do that. Like if I go to the South Bay, I have a joke that I'll start with for the South Bay because I grew up down there, so I can say some stuff. Yeah. But yeah, you can do those types of things, but it helps. Anything if you can do a local reference, it kind of gets the audience on your side for sure to start.
Yeah. And
this is Ian. Ian couldn't make it, so we had him. He really wanted to be here to interview you, but some of his questions worked his way in here, and it's primarily about Pacifica.
I'm here for it.
So we've heard that you love Pacifica, and can you tell us a little bit about why you love it so much?
Yeah, that's definitely become a thing with Comedy Sharks because I hate it, and I mean it's not that at the end of the day I don't really care, it has become a thing. It was mainly because when my wife and I first moved here, she grew up here. She moved here when she was 13 or whatever. Went to high school here and all that. But I didn't move here till 2000. So when we moved here, we moved to Moss Beach, and my brother-in-law was still going to Half and Bay High at the time, and their whole family had gone to Half and Bay High. So you just heard, ripping on Terra Nova and ripping on Pacifica and all this stuff. And I was like, why do you guys hate Pacifica so much? Like, it's the coastside. We're all one. Like, I don't get, like, and then I started going there and I was like, oh, I get it. We're very different.
That tunnel does a lot of things.
Yeah. I've pretty much rip on Pacifica at least once every show at Comedy Sharks. Just it's fun. I mean, it's all in good. Again, I really don't care. But
catering a joke to the local audience.
Exactly. That's kind of a good transition, unintentionally. Do you ever get anybody in the audience that's from Pacifica and tries to like kind of heckle you when you make those jokes?
Yeah. Sometimes they try and they.
The whole crowd's like.
They
only strengthen your point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I brought a guy up on stage one time who was from Pacifica, and I was like, all right, so like, tell me, so like, what's a fun day out in Pacifica? And he's like, oh, well, like I'll get up in the morning, we'll go over to like Montera, and I was like. So you're leaving Pacifica like right away? Like that's clearly a bad sign if that's what the thing is to do. But yeah, every once in a while people will kind of try and defend it, but there's enough meth jokes and criminal activity to from my side. Yeah. Well, as someone who's a part of performing and producing the shows, how do you balance that with needing to make a living with comedy? Like, because your creative side has to run, but then at the same time you have to kind of be like, okay, yeah, I gotta. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm kind of lucky in that Comedy Sharks essentially kind of runs itself now. I mean, I've put in enough work over the last 12 years that it's developed its own audience. People show up. I could probably not put out a notice and people would know to show up on, the second Thursdays. But I used to go all over town. I used to be posting flyers everywhere. I used to be, putting ads up on Facebook. I used to be trying to get anybody to notice it. And that took a lot of time and effort, but again, like I think I've cultivated it. We've built up the audience where people know. It took a little hit, through COVID, because we used to do it twice a month. We used to do it second Thursdays and last Fridays, and just people aren't coming out as much or going out, so we just went back to the second Thursdays. And but I mean, so that's taken a little less off my plate now that it just kind of runs in on its own. I make a poster. The posters are kind of known just for being the way I do them, but. I mean, at the end of the day, the comic side for me always has to come first because I don't want to be a producer. Yeah. To be honest, like I don't want to be doing that. I want to just be doing comedy and being hired and paid to do comedy. And if it's not on my show, I'd much rather prefer that. As much as I love Comedy Sharks, when I'm there, people are like, oh, I got to come see you. I'll come to one of your Comedy Sharks show. And I'm like, that's not really the show you want to see. Like, you're going to want to see me at a club or whatever, because Comedy Sharks, I'm just hosting. I'm just really there to move the show along and get people out. And so I'll do a little bit of crowd work, get the crowd quiet, give them the rules, and then introduce each comic. I'm not doing time in between. It's not become my place to really work out new material or anything like that. So
it's your show, but it's not your show.
Right. Yeah. So I'm just kind of running it to run it. And
Yeah.
I want to make it good for the audience. I want to make it good for the other comics, because it is a ways out here. It's not, comics drive all over the place, and it's at least a 30-minute drive for anybody in the city. Nobody lives out here that does comedy. So it's got to be, the 45 minutes from the city at a minimum. People come from Oakland. People come from Sacramento to do it. So it's a drive. So I want to make sure that they're getting a good quality show, and audience isn't going to ruin it for them, either by talking or whatever. And that's my job.
Yeah. Awesome.
So living in a small town like Half Moon Bay since, I think, what you said, 2000?
Mm-hmm.
Has that in any way shaped your comedy, you think?
A little bit. I think I'm probably a little more actively aware of how it affects my family.
Yeah.
If I'm putting clips out, I joke about my daughter and stuff like that, both my daughters and my wife, and they're known entities in our community. You know what I mean? Like, they're in their own little worlds too. But if I'm putting out jokes that are degrading to them, or saying stuff that they maybe not wanting out in the public, I have to be a bit more aware of that.
Yeah.
And again, not that I'm out to just roast them. I'm not trying to do that either. So it's a fun joke and good spirits, but I get, my kids were teenagers when I was starting, and if I say a joke that puts them in a bad light, or any other teenager would be like, your dad says this, I get it. You wouldn't want that. As an adult, you're like, it's fine. Everyone knows you're joking or whatever, but I get, as a teenager, you may not want to do that. So it's kind of shaped in that way, and also my wife does business too. So it's like, I'm not going to put stuff out there about her that makes her seem in a bad light either, or, our relationship as a family in a bad light. So you have to kind of be aware of that. There are times where I'm like, people are like, oh, I know your wife. Oh, I want to come see you do comedy. And I'm like, well, it's not safe for work comedy. So if you're I don't know if you know her from church, or if you know her from where, this may not be your thing. So it kind of makes me aware. And when I do jokes that I'm either worried about, or, I'll tell my daughters, I'll be like, hey, here's this joke I'm doing. Are you cool if I say that?
Yeah.
And then it's one thing to say it. It's also are you cool if I put that on Instagram? Because that may go viral. So you may need,
Yeah, I feel like you have a better chance of it being seen by their friends. Well, now they're old enough to go to a brewery and whatnot, but on Instagram, there's probably a better chance of that.
Yeah, so you just got to check in and make sure that they're okay with that being.
That's cool. Yeah.
And also, I wouldn't say a joke that I wouldn't say in front of them either. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say it to their face. Then I probably shouldn't say it on stage either.
Yeah. And so now, do you test a lot of your comedy on your family before bringing it to the stage?
I probably used to do it more than I thought. That it's also weird now, because then anytime if I say something funny, they're like, "Is that a bit?" I'm like, no, it's not a bit.
God, man, I'm just trying to connect
I just
with
thought
you.
of it. Yeah.
I'm just making a joke.
I'm like, but it will be tomorrow. But so sometimes you try and work in something that you thought was funny, but I've tried to not do that anymore, because people do have that reaction.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing the Gorton's Fisherman lookalike?
The beard was COVID. I grew the beard out in COVID, and then it just kind of stuck. Everyone's like, it looks good.
Never looked back?
I never looked back. I haven't shaved it since.
Nice.
That was me too with the mustache. It was I think it was just when the COVID restrictions came down. I was stuck in the house and I didn't shave for a while, and then I was just joking around, left the mustache, and I was like, looks pretty shitty now, but I'm not seeing anybody for a while.
Yeah, mine was we saw a picture the other day of it, and it was crazy. It was wild. Like I didn't know how to take care of a beard or do anything of it. So it was just like, I looked like I was homeless. It was just all over the place. I was like, what am I doing? And then now I'm like, okay, groom it, whatever. It works. But yeah, I've kept it and definitely get the Gordon's Fisherman quite a bit.
Yeah, when I was doing a little bit of research on you, I saw pictures of you without the beard, and I was like, oh damn, okay, he's running with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the gray hair is not great, but I guess it kind of works. I guess
it works.
It works. Yeah, definitely.
So if anybody hasn't seen the Hop Dogma Instagram, some great content on there. It's pretty damn funny, and for that to be coming out of a small brewery in Half Moon Bay, it's pretty awesome. And you're the one behind all that.
I mean, mostly I write a lot of the skits and stuff. Dan in his own right is very funny too. So Dan will be like, "Hey, I got an idea for a skit," and he'll like write out a script and give it to me. And I'm like, "Yeah," and then we'll go figure out how to shoot it and we'll edit it as we go. But yeah, I write a lot of them that we do. We do the Christmas ones, we do the Oktoberfest ones, and we try
hardcore corn.
Hardcore corn.
It's so good.
What's cool though is those guys are the coolest. They're up for anything. Like,
yeah,
I'll write
I know.
the corniest, the dumbest, the craziest stuff, and they're like, "Okay, we'll do that."
I know. And watching that hardcore corn one, like, it's so funny because it's like you could tell how reserved they are doing it. It's so good.
It's so funny because they're also very good actors too. Like a lot of times I'm like, all right, just do it this way. And they're like, and then they'll lean into it or they'll do another take where it's like they're going in twice as hard. And I'm like, I mean, Dan alone can probably act in several movies. He's very good at doing all that stuff. So it's fun to like kind of escalate it and write out different things that they want to do. But they're always game, always happy to do, and they're always funny. I mean, it's fun editing it. Even when we do just the little beer talks that they do, and I get to like slide in GIFs and animations in front of it that are just funny to the conversation. It's just fun to make those things funny and enjoyable, and we get pretty good feedback on it, so it's fun. I like them. So.
And you run the Instagram for them?
Yeah, I run all their social media, Facebook.
Okay,
awesome.
Cool.
And with that, talking about the writing side of comedy, do you do much of that outside of stand-up?
Not really. I mean, I need to do more. I mean, I want to do a lot more skits. I mean, in filming the stuff for Hop Dogma, it's fun. I really enjoy the editing and the directing kind of that side of things. So it'd be fun to write a few more skits and get some stuff out there. There's kind of goes in waves in the comedy community. Like some people start doing skits and stuff, and there gets to be like a group of people that do them. And then, like when I first started, there's people doing it, but I wasn't cool enough or known enough to be like, hey, can I do that too? Or write with it. And then it kind of lulled out for a bit, and then it feels like more people are doing more skits and stuff like that too. Yeah. And it's nice for content too, because you can, not burn your jokes.
Yeah. Well, like with the podcast on our Instagram page for a while, it's just been clips from podcasts.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of like trying to branch into this, just like other stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, it's great. People want the behind the scenes stuff too. So like, I mean, you guys should be technically filming from the get-go here when we started.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Like last week, David and I said goodbye to our guests, and then we came back up and we tried to film. We tried so hard to film like little bits.
I hate it.
Oh, it was so bad, dude. We bombed and there wasn't even a crowd. But no, we should do a Between Shifts Hop Dogma skit crossover.
We can do it.
Let's do it.
We got to give up these beers, though.
He had a good point. He's like, you should talk to Hop Dogma.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I will say one thing with the skits and writing skits. My childhood was like, whitest kids you know. They're just, I don't know. I feel like that was like original skit comedy on YouTube, and then it kind of went away for a while, and now it's coming back like pretty seriously. And it's so awesome because those like 2-3 minute YouTube skits are hilarious. And that used to be like what you went on YouTube for.
The Vines too. Remember Vine?
Oh yeah.
Like that was 7-second comedy.
Well, I think to me, I think that's what fucking started all this short clip stuff.
Because
they were like, how can we get it to 5 seconds? I was like, wait, what? Like, we're gonna make it 7. It's like, okay, like it just, and then everything just started.
You have seconds.
It's gonna be my face.
You have 7 seconds to be funny. Go.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's like all this long form comedy just went away.
Yeah. If you had to think of a difference between a packed show and a comedy club in San Francisco versus something like at Hop Dogma, what is the biggest difference there for you? I know you're a host at one.
Yeah, I mean, like a good Hop Dogma
show
show and a good city show. I mean, the biggest difference is, I mean, I guess it can really vary in the city. It depends on. I kind of know the audience here a lot more, so you're going to know kind of who's here. I mean, we probably get like 60-70% of the same people every time, so I have a good gauge of what people are going to think is funny or whatever. So there's that aspect of it. But if I took that out of it, I mean, it's more of a bedroom community here, right? Like, I mean, people are bed by 9, so they want to get in and out. I mean, that's part of why we start at 7:30, and we're out by 9. It's probably an argument to start it at 7, really, because at 9 o'clock people start bailing out of there pretty quickly. But I think in the city it's just it's more date nights. It's a little more diverse, obviously, than what we have on the coast sometimes, and so you get different comedy reactions based on that. Also, it's more of a kind of a party atmosphere in the city. It really is a night out. People have spent $25 just in tickets to get there. Yeah. Maybe they have to buy a few more drinks, so it's quickly $100 night for some people. Mm-hmm. Whereas here, I mean, tickets are free. We ask for tips at the end of the night. That's how we help pay for the comics on that show. So I think there's a little less investment for people. Mm-hmm. So I think and it's close to home. It's just it's a little more laid back vibe for people here. I think they just want to come out, have a good time, see their friends.
There's not a lot else going on Thursday night.
Right.
Cornhole.
Cornhole. Yeah. I know. Is that stolen any visitors?
I mean, I just found out about it from you, so apparently it is at least one person.
Yeah. I know. I got to go to a Comedy Sharks.
Dude, you got to ditch cornhole one week.
I know.
Have you never been to any of Comedy
I've never been to a Comedy Sharks.
I know.
Oh, my God.
Crazy.
I know.
He's just
coming into this episode, I was like, fuck, I shouldn't I make money at cornhole sometimes.
Sometimes.
Occasionally I get the plus $10. Last week I went, Dave and I, for a scramble tournament in San Luis Obispo. So like the whole thing behind it is you and your scramble partner in the golf tournament have to have a costume.
Okay.
And Dave and I were Guy Fieri.
I saw that.
And we just I was leaving to go to cornhole last week, and the costume was just staring me in the face. I was like, I'm never gonna fucking wear it again. So I wore it there, and then now I'm trying to get this guy to wear it more often and do food reviews around town. I think it would be so fun. So fun.
So fun.
He's so against it. But
you guys will both be at Trace and the Guy Fieri.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Welcome back.
I'm gonna get a Taqueria La Gallina across the street. Review their $10 Wednesdays and Thursdays burger special.
Yeah.
Dude.
We can even do one where we try to find the best bang for your buck drinks in town or something.
Dude. Okay.
Just shooting it back and forth now.
Best bang for your buck food in town. Honestly, Wednesdays and Thursdays, Taqueria La Gallina. It's a very mediocre burger, but it's $10 and you get a burger, fries, and a drink.
That's pretty good.
Cheaper than McDonald's.
Yeah. What about BO's $1 tacos on Tuesday nights?
Yes, they are. That is,
$1 tacos?
$1.
What's BO?
Taco Tuesday at OPL.
Yeah. OPL.
Brian Overfeld.
Oh, Brian.
Yeah.
So I've never heard it called BOs. That's great. That's real local.
Yeah, Brian Overfeld. That's everybody calls him BO. So funny.
$1 taco night. What? Have you guys done Happy Taco?
Yeah.
Do you guys love it?
I love it. Yeah, that's the one. That's a taqueria we grew up eating, and then there was always Happy Taco and Tres Amigos.
Yeah.
My family was more of a Happy Taco family,
okay.
But then La Mordida came into town, and for a while there, it was everybody kind of divorced from Happy Taco, and then now it's back to Happy Taco.
Yeah, that's kind of
very interesting.
I will say, so I grew up in Moss Beach, literally down the street from El Gran Amigo.
Yeah.
So that's still I don't know, 90% of the Mexican food that I get is still going to be El Gran Amigo. But Happy Taco does have the best al pastor in town.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
See, that's my order too, and I'm quasi local now. I've been here 25 years, whatever, but. Yep. We've never done Happy Taco. That's never been a thing. I've always done Trace, and then we moved to Mordida when it opened because it was just convenient being in the market because we'd be dropping my kid off at karate or going to
Yeah,
Safeway or whatever. So, but it was very good. But now we've also started switching back to Trace now.
I don't know what it was with Mordita. I think they might have changed some recipes or a chef, but like it's not the same.
Their breakfast burritos are really good at Mordita.
Oh, is it? I mean,
Their California burrito's still really good.
But Tres Amigos, of course, I work right here.
Yeah.
We can almost see it right there. And so it is, I will say, probably the most consistent Mexican food on the coast.
Yeah.
I think Trace, my bad, El Gran, but I totally forgot about El Gran. Trace, Happy Taco, and El Gran are pretty much the top 3 in my book.
While you're headlining the Punchline in November, is your approach to this one any different than in the past, or are you just kind of sticking to the same thing that you've done in the past with there?
I mean, the first one was cool. I think there was a little bump because it was the very first time I've done it, so there was a bit of a pop with that. So I think I got friends and family kind of came out for that one too, which happy to have them come out again. But I'd hopefully be able to draw more people that are just fans of me would be cool. And I think I'm just looking at it as trying to get more new material, trying to have a different set for people. Just a good time. I'm trying to put less pressure on me for it because the first time I really put a lot of pressure on it. Like I wanted to sell it out, which I did, which was fun. But I just really want to focus on the material this time. Not that the material wasn't good last time, but it was kind of material I've been doing for a handful of years. So I want to kind of get new material in there and do some crowd work, do different things, try and get recordings and just make it work. But a kind of less pressure as far as like focusing on selling out as much. Yeah.
And is that like a half hour?
Headlining is usually 45 to 60 minutes.
Damn.
So, and you'll have a feature. Feature usually does like 20, 25. Host does usually 10 to 15. That's usually standard.
When you're on stage and you're, let's just say, perfect world, which I feel like you're typically in a perfect world on stage, but you remember all your jokes, you're in line, it's going good. Does that time just feel like it goes by real fast?
It can. It really doesn't matter on what you're remembering. It matters on how the audience is reacting. If the audience is not doing anything, you're like, how long has this been? Yeah, I mean, you can burn through 30 minutes of material in 10 minutes sometimes. So you're just like, oh, you didn't like that? Well, how about this? Oh, not that either. Okay, maybe this? Nope. Okay, next. And you're just kind of like, and you're looking at the clock and you're like, fuck. Yeah. And then will this end? Because it just feels like your stomach's being, ripped out your behind. You just can't recover sometimes. And when you're burning through material and like I only when you're first starting, you're like, I have 20 minutes, maybe. And if this 20 doesn't work and I'm burning through it, what am I going to do to end it? Like, how can I, and you got to like save your closer to work. So you got to like finagle the middle to work. And, but when it's going great, it really is flying and you end up kind of like self-editing and cutting jokes. You're like, oh, wow, they're laughing longer. So I probably won't be able to do this joke. So I got to switch it. But the amount of self-editing you're doing in your head on the fly is crazy and probably one of the least like kind of known things as far as comedy. Like you don't really realize how much is going on in a comic's head when you're on stage. You're self-editing. You're looking at why didn't they laugh? Oh, she was offended at that joke. That seems crazy. Oh, there's somebody's talking. Oh, it's just a drink order. Like you're constantly thinking in your head all these things that are just going so fast. And oh, by the way, I got to tell jokes and make sure it's like going and right.
How often do you have like one of your standard jokes is like it's always done good, and then like it kills that night, and then you just kind of like you're saying, like edit it on the fly and like make it last longer, can get more laughs out of it. I mean, sometimes you might have tags that you've had on it, or sometimes maybe something in the room creates a tag for it. Like you'll say the joke and maybe you can do a quick refer back to the guy who was sitting there, from the crowd work you did earlier, and you can kind of, oh, that's because that's what he's thinking too. You can kind of throw something on that to kind of tag it out. But usually, I mean, your tags are kind of also baked into your material too. So like it's killing, but you're also probably going to say that again still too the next time. But really, it's just if something's happened in the room or something crowd working has happened that you're able to reference based on that. You can. And there are sometimes though when you say a joke, and it's kind of the writing on stage mentality. Like you'll say a joke and just in the fly, your natural funniness kind of comes out and you say a joke. And that's happened many times where I'll have the joke and in my head, just something comes up natural on stage and it becomes a tag that I then say all the time. But
It's you know, when those happen, you're like, yes, I'm funny. I'm still funny.
And that's like the coolest part about comedy to me is just like, because I know personally if I went up in front of people, it's just like blank, you know, and it's like the ability to like consistently work through it and change on the fly. That's the craziest part.
Yeah. Looking ahead, what's the next big milestone or dream gig that you're chasing in your comedy career?
I mean, I'd love to get some sort of TV credit, but it's on like a late show set or something like that. There's fewer and fewer of those now that they're canceling those shows, but Fallon's probably the only one you can do. But some sort of TV credit would be great. That's usually what I'm shooting for. That's how you can kind of get into bigger gigs. You can get agents and stuff like that if you can show you some credit. A lot of it is based on following now, though, too. So if people aren't following you, that's not really what they're interested in. Yeah. Especially at my age, it's harder because, everyone's like, who wants to follow this Santa Claus looking dude online and talking about his dick the whole time. So it's harder. Like,
Yeah.
If people who want to follow you, that's great. If they can, follow you to the show. But again, it really comes down to, for agents and industry stuff, they want to know, do you have 100,000 people following you, or
exactly
just whatever?
Which is crazy, because you could be the best comic in the world, and if you have 1,000 followers, some people would just probably be like, no.
Yeah. And like we've talked about that before when it comes to like action sports, where there's this huge push where it's like you if you're not consistently active on social media, you don't have this like huge follower base, then you're not going to go anywhere in the sport, which sucks. And
it's very similar in comedy.
Same thing with comedy, where it's like if you don't have that constant content coming out, that like the following growing all the time, then it's like
it's worse. Especially when you see people that aren't good, or that you think aren't good, or just have only put like something went viral on them or whatever, and then that made them pop, and you're like, really? That one video has now made them like internet star, and they've got and so it's kind of depressing when you're like, oh, I put all this work into it and I have all this content or whatever, and then somebody does, but that's how it works. So sometimes I'll put hours into a clip to make it right, and then there's other times where I'll spend 5 minutes filming something that I just think is funny off the top of my head, and then that's the one that went viral and gets a million views, and
you're like, dude, all she did was say Hop Dogma. Damn, what? Yeah. Now she has a podcast.
It's like, damn it, I was so close.
I was doing every other Thursday, dude. Well, and with that being said, too, like, speaking from an action sports following standpoint, but it's also really cool to see people without these major sponsorships being able to make a living through social media. Like I don't know, you look at guys like Tyler Bierman. Yes, he's sponsored by Firestone now, but when he was first kind of getting into free riding, and I don't know if you watch motocross at all, but I'm kind of going on a tangent here. But when he was first getting into free riding, like he got into posting and he started making, like, the way he got his sponsors was, yes, he's a gnarly rider, but like he had a good Instagram following, and it allowed him to make a living in the sport. Most of the free riders in motocross or mountain bikes. Yeah, but
when you see him do it, when you see people do it right, or quote unquote right, it is good. You're like, he's funny, she's funny. They're doing it. They're putting out good clips. They're putting out good content. They're writing. They're doing all the shows you're supposed to be doing, and then they get a following. You're like, okay, that feels good.
Yeah, it does
like
feel
there
good.
is some way to do it correctly, but it is the Hop Dogma times where you're just like, really, come on, like, fuck. But it happens. But
Well, what's a bucket list comedy goal that either is, like far in the picture, or you just still haven't tackled yet?
I mean, it's kind of, I'm kind of making it happen. I always wanted to do comedy in New York. So for the September, I booked a trip to go to New York. So I'm trying to book out some shows there and do some stuff there. And
how long are you going to spend there?
I'm going to be there 10 days.
Cool.
So it's good. It's a good stay. And hopefully try and get on some of the better shows while I'm there. And again, not that anything can come of it. It's just more of a kind of a checklist, bucket list thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Everyone always asks, have you done comedy in New York? And I haven't yet. So I want to go and kind of, see where I stand against the best comics in the world. So.
Yeah. Also, just a good excuse for a trip, too, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely going to go eat. I'm definitely going to go to a baseball game. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Do you stand true by that New York best comedy in the world?
I mean, no. I mean, there are so many comics there.
Yeah.
That, I mean, it is really good comedy, and a lot of the best comics do live there. I mean, but also the upper echelon of comics live there. So it's Joe List, it's Mark Norman, it's Sam Morril, it's Rachel Feinstein. It's all these people that live there that are very, very funny. But are they better than people in LA? No, there's people that are hilarious in LA too. I mean, they say you go to New York to get better, you go to LA to be famous. That's kind of the thing. But I think they're just very different. It's harder to quote unquote whatever grind in LA because shows are so few and far between, and the city's so spread out. But in New York, you can go up 2-3 nights a week, or 2-3 times a night. So it's like you just have more reps and getting the thing. But again, there's so many comics, maybe you can't do that too. You got to be good to get up there. So the ones that are getting up are very good because it's just kind of cream rises to the top type thing. So I think comedy is obviously very good in New York. If you had to rank them, I'd probably say New York, LA. And then third is always the questionable one. It's Chicago, San Francisco, Austin. It's thrown in there too. But Atlanta has a good scene. There's a bunch. St. Louis has a comic. Like there's a bunch of good scenes around. It's just a matter of, it always comes down to industry. Technically, like there's no industry here. You could have a great scene, but there's no industry. So what are you gonna?
Yeah.
And do you want to, if you had the chance, would you go down to the Comedy Store in LA?
Yeah, I mean, I try and go down there. I have friends that work there as door guys, and you can try and get up there. It's kind of a game where you got to be there, and you got to be showing up every week to try and get in development and try and get on the open mic or on the potluck and try and be there a little more. So it's harder for a guy that doesn't live there to do that type of thing. And if your goal is to work at the Comedy Store, it's very hard to get that from without being in LA type thing. So but if you can do it, I can go down there. And then I'll try and get on the potluck and try and do those things, but I haven't yet. Yeah.
I want to, next time we go down to visit our buddy Cole, who actually edits the podcast, but he lives in LA. And he used to live right down the street from the Comedy Store. Yeah. I was trying to talk these guys into going to a show one time.
It's cool. It's super fun. I mean, I go in there, luckily I, like I said, know the door guy every once in a while. And so I'll get to go in and just watch, and I've gone in and just seen great comic after great comic, and it's an amazing showcase. It's an amazing show. It's definitely an experience to go do it, and it is it's top two comedy clubs in the city. It's like the Cellar and that are part of the top 2 in the whole country
for sure.
So it's definitely worth going.
Well, when you're in New York, are you gonna go to a Yankees game or a Mets game?
Depends who's in town. I think it's only the Yankees. I thought initially that I'm a Cubs fan, so I thought the Yankees. Okay. I thought the Mets were playing the Cubs, but I think they're actually playing in Chicago.
So you're a Cubs fan?
Yeah. So,
why?
So when I moved here, my neighbor was from Iowa.
Okay.
And AAA team of Cubs is in Iowa, so they're usually Iowans are Cub fans, and so I learned everything about American baseball and sports from my neighbor and his dad. Okay. And so I was like, oh, I just like the Cubs. And when I was growing up, we had WGN, and WGN was on cable all the time, and they didn't have day games then. They didn't have lights at Wrigley Field, so when you came home from school, there was always a game on.
Yeah.
And so I was just watching Cubs baseball all the time. So I was like, well, I might as well be a Cubs fan. And then I just designated Chicago my hometown. And
cool.
That's awesome.
So it's Bears, Cubs.
Can you tell the people where to find you?
Yeah, you can go to philcomedy.com, philcomedy.com, or you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at most things on at Phil Griffths, PhilGriffs. Yeah, has Phil Comedy has my full calendar of shows, upcoming stuff. If you guys are up to come to the San Francisco for the Punchline on November 11th, that would be awesome. I'd love to see everybody out there supporting the coast side. But yeah, that's it. And then we're at Comedy Sharks at Hop Dogma every second Thursday of the month, 7:30 to 9, with 5 new comics every time. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you go there. Yeah, if you're listening and you play cornhole every Thursday, you can take the second Thursday off every month.
Yeah. That'd be great. Including you.
Yeah, including me. Yeah. I should probably go tomorrow night. All right. Well, signing off. We'll see you guys back for the recap.
Yeah. Thanks guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Welcome back. This is the recap to Phil Griffiths episode. Yeah. What a guy.
Super nice. I mean, I seen him at Comedy Sharks a handful of times that I've gone, and he's always a great host for that. And yeah, just getting to sit down and chat with him, he's super down to earth guy.
Yeah, one of the I think it's like the second guest that we've had on that neither of us really knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had to take some time and come up with some good questions to interview him, and it was difficult but fun, and he made it really easy because he's so natural behind the mic.
And I think we spent a lot less time talking about kind of his past than we have with previous guests. Not a bad thing or anything, but I think we were both just super interested in comedy.
Yeah.
I think you and I are both fans of comedy, not to the point of like going to shows all the time and stuff, but
Yeah, watching it at home though.
yeah. And it was really cool to just kind of dive in and chat with him about that aspect.
And thank you guys for bearing with us, because that was also probably one of the biggest shows that we've gone off of our questions. Like we were just kind of talking to him because we were, like you said, we were both interested in comedy, and we were just like,
They can fucking deal with it.
yeah. I mean, I think they were solid questions. I don't think we asked anything too bad, but yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. Second Thursday of every month, Comedy Sharks at Hop Dogma.
Yeah. Get your ass there. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
Good beer.
I've never
You'll
been,
laugh.
so I got to go. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. Yeah. And he's headlining the Punchline in SF November 11th.
Yes.
That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Go represent one of Half Moon Bay's own.
Yeah.
Although he was a red coat.
That
was funny when you said that.
in the intro.
Yeah, I love that. And then he's like, it's kind of a slur. That's pretty classic. All right. Well, we're the Between Shifts podcast. Later. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, we're brought to you by Bikeworks HMB, your one-stop shop for bike service, sales, and rentals in Half Moon Bay, California. Whether you're on the mountain, road, or low on battery, Bikeworks HMB has your back. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help support this podcast, please feel free to reach out to us at betweenshiftspod@gmail.com. The link will be in the description. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. GT signing off.